look on to Canada. Dick, why don't you give us your thoughts on that?
Sure. So obviously, Montreal is probably the most European city here in North America. It's obviously on an island basically, and again, this is one of those tracks where they spend a lot of time at full throttle. It's got some pretty long straightaways. It certainly has the Wall of Champions where you've got to make a good run on the very last corner to get out onto the main straightaway, and that wall has caught a lot of people and ruined a perfectly good lap time. It can rain there because it's, obviously it's sitting right in the middle of the St. Lawrence River. And so the weather does change. The weather can be absolutely spectacular, or it can be like, man, I'm glad I'm watching on TV and I'm not there because of the rain. And so I think what comes to mind for me was in Michael Schumacher's last year with Mercedes, he very nearly won that race because he was so good, and it would rain and then it'd go dry, and then it'd rain and it'd go dry. And I mean, it was constantly back and forth, and he just played it to perfection. Had as I recall, a terrific battle with Jenson Button with that in that race. So anyway, Button prevailed, but that was a great race.
John, what about Canada? And then I don't think I gave you an opportunity to talk about Barcelona. So feel free to talk about both of those.
Well, Barcelona, I mean, I regret also that it's no longer used for testing, and it's a great track. I don't have a whole lot to say about that Dick hasn't already said. Canada is a great environment for a race. It's really good for fans. It's very accessible for those of us in North America to go there. It is a great city, Montreal, and it can be a very interesting race, especially as they go down and do the 190 or the 290-degree 180 long onto the back straight. So it's an interesting track, interesting races, and like Dick says, the weather can really be interesting there.
And I feel like, John, you mentioned in the past that this race in Canada was not historically held at this track. There was a different one. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was previously at Mosport, which is a more interesting track, harder to get to in between Toronto and Montreal, but is a fantastic track with huge elevation changes, blind turns going over the hill and down, huge compression. I can't imagine. It's too challenging a track, I think, for modern Formula One cars, because I think the drivers would just have their backs crushed as they go through the compression there. It's just, it is a spectacular track, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and they also ran the Canadian Grand Prix at Saint-Jovite one year. I want to say it was either 1968, 1969, something like that. And Saint-Jovite really doesn't host any big races anymore, but there's a lot of club stuff, Ferrari Challenge stuff that still goes on there. But it's nestled on the side of a ski slope, basically, and it's really pretty spectacular. But I don't think I'd ever want to think about trying to take a F1 car, a modern F1 car around that place without doing a lot of upgrades for safety.